Hi, this is my second vlog. Thank you for joining again. So today I decided to do a vlog because my day may be slightly a bit more interesting. So I am giving a talk today at my local city, all about autism and how to help your own child at home. So I thought I'd record today. So yeah, today I am doing a talk at my local, so it's in my own hometown, which is great, no traveling. And I am talking about how to help your own child at home. And it's been and I'm excited to do the talk because I know people who are attending, and I bumped into them today, and they were really supportive and excited, and they really wanted to come watch me talk. But the talk is really relies on these automations to make it interactive. And on Friday, I saw that the automations were not working, and I spoke to my assistant to fix it. And then I assumed they would get fixed. And then today she contacted me saying that everything is just pending with Meta. So it's all like WhatsApp automations, and Meta, I've pended it all. So it is out of our hands and those automations are not working. So today, then the automations are really good. So if any of you have ever attended my webinar before, the automations I'm talking about is that when you write, the word testimonials, you automatically get sent on WhatsApp my video testimonials, the YouTube playlist, and a few things like those automations. If you want to book a meeting with me, if you message me the word meeting, you'd automatically get sent the meeting booking link. So those are the automations I'm talking about, and they're generally really impressive. But and it makes everything go so smoothly, but they do not work and it's out of our hands. Apparently Meta have put it into pending. And so this morning I kind of redid my slides based on everything without automations. And if you want a summary copy of my slides, email hello@autismbrainempowerment.com. So it kind of does ruin the flow, but the content of the webinar is generally so good. And I get autism professionals all the time joining the webinar, and people who've been teachers for years, people who are doctors, and they joined the webinar and they're literally just wowed by all the research I've done and putting everything together. So the content is really good. It's just so I'm still delivering it. I've got 300 people registered to attend tonight's webinar, and I'm going to do it anyway, even though the WhatsApp automations do not work. So I'll explain that to the attendees, but I know everyone's going to come away having learnt so much. But it's annoying when software and tech issues happen, because again, the content is so good. But when the tech doesn't work and it just flops on the day, it kind of has a out of size impact, in my opinion, on the flow of the webinar. So that hopefully will get fixed before the October webinar. But so that was quite stressful. I did a workout this morning. And that was good, because I would not work out if it wasn't for me doing it with my friend, and meeting her and her encouraging me, and we were chatting the entire time. So that's nice. And my husband always says did you chat or did you work out? But we always do both. And my friend's she's really surprised at how I can count reps and talk the whole time. So that was a good workout session. But and then I had I bumped into another friend at one of my child's had a club today. So he went to, my son had a Beavers hike today. So he went to that, and I bumped into a friend there chatting away, and she was the one that's saying that she's going to attend the in-person talk this evening. So I've got the in-person talk today and the webinar tonight. Generally, I really do like speaking to parents, because when you get this information out there, it kind of like lights a fire in them, and it gives them so much hope, and they, it's actually has a really great effect on parents. And when I was talking to that person I bumped into today, I told her that my hometown is Southampton. So there is, I recorded another parent testimonial last night with a parent called Mohsin Mohammed from Southampton. And I was working with him since January. And in the last, 9 months, his daughter went from no eye contact. So his 7-year-old daughter went from no eye contact, no words, no meaningful words. So she only said like a few nursery rhymes, like sporadically, like she wouldn't do it on demand, and really hyperactive and stimming all the time, to literally 9 months later, she's speaking in sentences, she's sleeping the whole night, she's not stimming at all, pretty much. She used to do tiptoe walking, that's completely gone. And I'm just extremely happy for the little girl and the parents. And the dad also said on the testimonial that at school now that they can teach her how to read and write now. So now that she has those basic skills of focus and understanding language, she is now able to learn how to read and write, and they're just over the moon. So I recorded that video testimonial yesterday night with the parent. So that video is not ready to be published yet, but I was able to get the photo of the dad, and I added that to my presentation this morning as well, because where he's from, Southampton, and the talk is in Southampton, I feel like more local testimonials will have more of an impact on parents here. So so just excited to do the talk. And to be honest, I feel like a bit better now. So it's really weird. I think I can see why people do vlogs now, because I had all of these emotions, even went for a walk, did a workout. But now I feel a bit better. Like it's a powerful webinar, whether the automations work or not. So I'm excited to deliver. So I am outside the venue, and I got here about, they told me to come at 4:45, they told me to come at 4:45, and it's about 4:35, so I've got 10 minutes. And the car park is completely packed. So I was thinking, is there another event going on? Or have all these people come to see me speak? I'm sure there must be another event going on. I think being someone local to this area, people kind of take you a little bit for granted because they bump into you and they speak to you, so there's less of a novelty. But you never know, when I go into the hall it might be completely packed, but who knows. But there's literally no parking at the venue. I put in some earrings. I think I must be one of the only Pakistani girls in the world that doesn't wear earrings every day. I just never really dress up. So, but today doing this talk, I thought, get the earrings out. Obviously, these are fake. I don't own anything that's real. But yeah, I thought hopefully look more professional. I think, if I'm going to be a little bit honest, I'm always a bit nervous before going on a stage. But I think whenever I do anything in a stage, if I just act super casual, it helps me. So just act like you're just talking to one person in the audience and you know them and you're just chit-chatting. Then I think it just helps me feel more relaxed, and then it'll come across better rather than mixing up my words or anything like that. So I'm sure it'll be fine. Only like the TED talk that I did. Yes, I was nervous before that, like I always am. But that one, I rehearsed so much. So I rehearsed it so much that because it has to be like word for word perfect for TED, you cannot go off the script. So that one was like really, really rehearsed. But this one, a bit more relaxed. If you go off the script, it'll be okay. And hopefully, I know some people who are going to be in the audience anyway. So I'll just look at them the whole time and just act super relaxed, and I'm sure that will come across.
Another thing that we do in step 6, childhood cerebellum, is called integrate retained primitive reflexes. So do you guys know what retained primitive reflexes are?
Primitive reflexes.
Yeah. So the primitive reflexes are all reflexes that all newborn babies should be born with. So like the famous one is like if you have a newborn, the starter reflex. So the starter reflex is like, you must have seen it with a newborn baby. The baby can be fast asleep. But if there's a loud sound, they will shake their arms like a startle. That's like a startle reflex. Another really famous one is like the rooting reflex, or the feeding one. So you tickle a newborn baby, they'll turn their head. By the time the child is like 36 months of age, by the time they're 3 years old, all of these reflexes should have disappeared. They should have been integrated with the body and replaced with smooth movement and mature movement. However, they only get integrated through movement. And the current generation of children are the most sedentary generation of all of history. So it's very common to have, a baby, because we don't live in extended families anymore. So everyone's living in a nuclear family. Even if the mom is at home and on a maternity leave, she's in the kitchen doing something important, like doing cooking or something. So for ease, so the baby stays safe, it's very common to put a baby in, like strapped into a seat, facing the TV. You guys know what neuroplasticity means? Yeah, rewiring the brain. So actually, my own experience with the NHS occupational therapist is that I said to her when she was seeing my son when he was still having sessions with them, I was like, oh, what about neuroplasticity? Can't we rewire his brain? This is when they were trying to like decrease my expectations of him. I was like, what about neuroplasticity? And she said, I know it's only one person survey, but what this occupational therapist said was, oh, neuroplasticity, that's only available to stroke victims, not autistic kids. And I was like, she doesn't know. Because I studied neuroscience as part of dental school, and the vast growth of the child's brain by the time they're 3 years old and by the time they're 5 years old, so like 75% of your brain is grown in size by the age of 3, 90% by age of 5, and my son wasn't even 3 yet. So I was like, they've just written him off. I mean, if I can change this for him in his big brain growth years, it can change his whole life. But so they just that's the extent of the knowledge sharing about neuroplasticity with the NHS. Also, she was actually at dental school with me. So we were both at Bristol Dental School together. She was the year below me. And when I started the program, I had some mutual friends, obviously, and she said, and they said, oh, Kulsum's son is really severely autistic. I bet she'd be interested in your program. I spoke to Kulsum, and she said that she's a dentist, her husband's a doctor, and they were like, oh, the NHS is rubbish for autism, and early years intervention is really important. So they moved to the UAE and put him in an intervention school. So every single day, he received speech and language therapy, occupational therapy, and ABA therapy for 3.5 years. By the time he joined my program at 4.5 years old. So from 18 months to 4.5 years old, he was getting daily, speech and language, occupational therapy, ADA therapy, sensory integration therapy, and nothing worked. At 4.5 years old, he'd just been prescribed ADHD medication because his hyperactivity was so bad. And I told her, if you do my program, your son will go to a mainstream school. And she said, if anyone else had said that to me, Taiba, I never would have believed them. But I thought, if Taiba are saying this, and I knew her at university, I was a year above her, and she was like, maybe there's something to it. She did my program, at the end of 6 months, her child went to a mainstream school. And he got completely off his ADHD medications. And also, as he got off his ADHD medications, the doctor was like, you can't go off it, it's going to cause all these worse effects. She didn't listen to them, and he started sleeping 11 hours a night. The stories, this mom was so happy with it, and like he now recognises his grandfather. He's, this is all just during the 6 months. At one point, his behaviour was so bad, she had to sit with him in the back seat and get taxis everywhere. And then by about 3 or 4 months into the program, she was now able to put him in, he was so much calmer, she was able to put him in the back seat and drive. And she was like, Taiba, you've already changed my life because I can drive again.
I just did my in-person talk and it went really, really, really well. So I was a bit nervous, but it was like when I got there, it was all like really familiar. The crowd was so nice. It was actually at a local like Muslim community, and everyone there was a doctor. So because they were all doctors, we were all on the same wavelength. They already knew the science behind the program. They can see what I had built. They knew what I meant about the limitations of the NHS. They had seen cases themselves, like a lot of them in the audience were GPs. So they were talking about cases they'd seen. And it was a really lovely, intelligent conversation. And it was really nice atmosphere, and overall the talk went really well. Everyone left like super duper on board with the program, and it was actually like a nice opportunity to deliver that. So it was good. So I didn't know who to expect. I knew like my one friend who said she was going to be there, and obviously the organizer who asked me to do a talk. But it was nice to meet other local people, and like I said, the crowd was very medical. Like they were all pretty much all medical, or if they were not like doctors themselves, they were married to doctors. So it was a good conversation, and it actually overran quite a lot because it turned very conversational. So we did like the Q&A was usually at the end of the like the slides I do, but we did it like the whole time. Talked about like extra cases I worked on that weren't in the slides, and it like I feel like everyone was gripped because it was so much engagement from the audience. So that was really, really nice, and kind of reminds me to do more in-person stuff. So I think I love my home and love being cozy and like being warm, and to like to leave your house to do a talk. It's always rewarding though. So it's it's like the atmosphere is different. It's really rewarding, and like making that personal connection with everyone in the audience was really nice as well. So yeah, overall it was really good, and I'm excited to do my webinar now. So I came back like 20 minutes before I'm supposed to do the webinar, and my tech did not work, like I said, my automations were not working, but it was like a completely different atmosphere with the audience, and they all understood. So hopefully the same thing happens in the webinar, where at the beginning I say the automations are not working and I'm so sorry, and you can email me instead, so like old-fashioned email, and hopefully the audience understands, and it goes equally well like today's one did. So yeah, it was makes me even more excited to do the webinar today, because I already kind of did all the content, and it was so much lovely feedback from parents, and they were all like doctors and parents. So I can't wait to do this one, which is going to be in 6 minutes. So yeah, I'll take you along. Okay, so welcome everyone to this webinar. It's called the 7-Step Autism Action Plan, and the goal is to help children become confident, conversational and calmer within 12 months, and often much sooner. First, am I talking to the right people? Are you in the right place? So write yes to this in the comments if you relate to it. Are you struggling to understand your child's needs? Does your child only eat a few safe foods? And you are so anxious that they aren't meeting their nutritional needs. Or maybe your child is just eating one bite of food a day, and you're so worried about them losing weight or dropping their weight percentile. Or they are overeating every day to the point of making themselves sick. Or perhaps you are struggling with your child's sleep. Is your child taking hours to go to sleep at night? Or are they spending periods of time at night just wide awake? Is your child struggling to learn how to speak? Have they had months or even years of speech and language therapy, but they are still non-verbal? Do you have a child who is so anxious or aggressive that they are always hurting themselves, or they are always wetting themselves? Or a child who regularly experiences meltdowns from a sensory overwhelm or sensory underwhelm? So I can see lots of yeses, so everyone's in the right place. I'm glad this is resonating with everyone. Or perhaps your child was speaking, eating and sleeping well, but out of nowhere they've had a regression between the ages of 12 months to 3 years where they've lost all of these skills that they once had. And you're now terrified about whether they will ever develop these skills again. So write an R in the chat box if your child experienced a regression. I can see a lot of people have written yes. Has your child been waiting years on an NHS waiting list to get an official autism assessment? Or sitting on another NHS waiting list to begin a treatment? Or has your child started NHS treatment but was discharged too early? Or were their appointments too far apart to make a difference to your child? How would your family life change if your child no longer has a sensory overwhelm? Could you perhaps go on those family holidays that you always dreamed about when you started your own family? And how would it change your professional life if your child is now sleeping and achieving their developmental milestones and eating a balanced diet? What would it mean to you if your child is able to thrive in a mainstream primary or secondary school? Now let me tell you how I made this a reality for my own family. So once I realised no one was coming to help me and that no one cared as much as me, I thought about my son's future and my future for him as his main carer. If I didn't change anything, what was his life going to seem like? What was his life going to be like in 6 months, 12 months, or 5 years into the future? Now, how about for you? What would your child's life look like, or your family life look like in 6 months, 12 months, or 5 years down the line if you don't do anything right now? So just done the webinar, and we had 300 people registered to attend the webinar, and it was a really good group. So they asked really good questions. Everyone was really complimentary. I think the testimonials wowed everyone. So one person said it made her cry, and she was just crying in the room listening to all these parents and their testimonials. So that was really nice. And she was like, she has all her kids are neurodivergent, and they're all in the room, and they're all just wondering why she's crying watching the webinar. So overall, it was really good, and looking forward to working with all these parents. So it's been quite a long day, but I think I'm actually happy I recorded this day because it reflecting on it. The morning I was in such a bad mental state because the automations weren't working and the software weren't working, and I thought, oh my god, the in-person talk will not go well, the group, the webinar is not going to go well, but they both did go well. So it kind of is a good lesson to just no problem is as big as you think it is. So yes, so I'm happy. I think recording the day and the vlogging day is actually helped me reflect on that. Otherwise it was a busy day, and it's quite late now, it's like 10 p.m. And I'm looking forward to going to sleep. I hope to see you all in my next vlog, and I hope you found this day interesting. Right, take care.